Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates. It's me, Stormie Grace, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of September 23rd, where this week we are not only going to explore the movements in the cosmic weather that are playing an impact in our personal lives, but we are also going to talk about how some of these transits that seem normal, they seem like we're always going through them, but they are going to have a significant impact on the collective this week. So I am really excited to share some insight with you this week. Now, before we jump in, let's take a look at our quote and our thought for the week to guide us as we are traveling. So the quote is, "Mundane astrology is the astrology of nations and collective fate, where the destinies of individuals are interwoven with the fabric of history." Oh, I absolutely love that. So here's the thought of the week I would love for you to consider. How are your personal thoughts, words, and actions aligning with the greater movements of society? So this week, have a reflection on your role in relation to the larger collective narrative that is unfolding around you. What a question. This is something to really be thinking about. And that's why when I was looking at the astrology of this week, I was like, gosh, we have really got to talk about what's also happening a little bit at a mundane level, because some of the movements of the energies in the collective are really trickling down into our personal lives. And we are waking up. So it feels like a really wonderful time to share with you a little perspective of how mundane astrology also plays into our day-to-day lives. And also to help us with that, our friends over at Astrology Hub are releasing my Introduction to Mundane Astrology course for this week only, and you can get a 22% discount using my code. I'll make sure it's in the description box down below. Make sure you go check it out. I give you a complete course on the Introduction to Mundane Astrology, because did you know that the planets in mundane astrology and the houses in mundane astrology tell us to focus on different things in our society? They literally give us the clues as to what is happening in society. And one of the things we're going to be working on this week in our societies as a whole are going to be some real unresolved national challenges and debts that have not been spoken for yet. And that will play an impact on all of us. So click in the description box down below. Take advantage, go learn a little bit about mundane astrology and stay in the astro mix with us. Now, as always, friends, the timestamps are in the description box down below for every day this week, so you can go exactly where you need to go. And if you'd like a reading or any of that kind of good stuff, it is all in the description box down below. All right, let's jump into the week. So right here on Monday, the 23rd, first of all, we've got the moon on our moon day as we're coming into the week in the vibration of Gemini. So as the moon is moving in Gemini, it's curious. It's sharing information. It wants to know, what's going on? What are people getting into? What's the information that we've learned? This is also our time of the lunation cycle where we're checking in ourselves on what kind of decisions do I need to make? What's been sitting in your emotional body that you're like, I need to make a decision on that. I need to sort out if I'm going this way or this way. And I also think that the moon in Gemini speaks a fair amount to making a decision or being delayed in making your decision because you don't know which direction you really want to commit to. Because whichever direction you go, it's going to have a high impetus of learning. You're going to need to be learning along the path that you are on. And the moon on Monday in Gemini is going to really, really govern the day. So of course, thinking about your snacks that you can have, anything having to do, lemongrass. I just made a Thai lemongrass soup for the first time. It was absolutely delicious. So if you have lemongrass recipes that we can be thinking about this week, feel free to put those in the description box down below, in the comment section down below. Now listen, on a mundane level, something I'd like you to tap into as we're traveling this week is that the moon in mundane astrology, which is the astrology of countries, is astrology of our global world. The moon is about the people, right? The people, the citizens, not just the women, but the people of a nation. So the moon here on Monday, this is an opportunity where we are likely going to be hearing more and more developments that kick off on Monday and take us further throughout the week in technology, but lots of focus on the media. And I think that this is important to talk about because as the media energy is driving up, even here on Monday, and we're asking ourselves the questions of how are my thoughts, my words, and my actions, mine playing into what's going on in the narrative that's unfolding, it's a good idea to double check your information and make sure the information you're getting is not just emotionally based, but is factually based as well, okay? All right, on Tuesday, the 24th, first of all, we're coming to a void of course moon time, and this is going to be, what time are we going? We've got a good one. It's from 5:58 a.m. to 8:49 a.m., and this is mountain time, okay? So Colorado time, so make sure you adjust your clocks accordingly. Now, this is, again, that time to rest. The moon, when it's void of course, it's not making any aspects to anything, so it's just kind of in a free float. Let things finish, let things culminate. You don't need to start anything new. If there is something on your table that needs to be done, you can go ahead and just clear that away. Or if you can take an opportunity to rest, it's a great time to bring that into your repertoire for the day. And then as we just get past that 8:49 a.m. standpoint, we'll see the moon now shift into the vibration of Cancer, where it is at home. It is in full power because it's in domicile. Now, this is going to bring our attention to all things in the domestic zone, right? It's going to bring us to home. How am I feeling in my home? Do I feel secure? Do I feel nurtured in my home? We need to check in on our families. When's the last time you talk to whomever you consider to be family? And that is whether they are blood relatives or you have chosen them. When is the last time you checked in and nurtured your unit that helps give you security and you call them family? Now, one of the other things I'm really thinking a lot about, especially in the mundane vibration this week, you guys, is that when we're looking at some of the information that could be presenting itself this week, especially now that we've come through that Gemini vibration and we're moving into this Cancerian spaces, what big issues are we going to start to hear more rumblings about that just have to do around family policies, right? Family global policies, environmental security and stability. These are things that we're going to be looking at. And in our personal lives, we're wanting to bring safety and stability. We want to know that our homes and our houses are feeling ready, steady as well. And that includes our very first home, which is the one within. Okay, just after that, we are going to see that Mercury comes into a trine with Uranus. So Mercury, our communication planet, is ready for our planet of surprise. And they are in a nice angle to one another. So they're working well with each other in a trine. Now, the trine brings the pocket of opportunity, but we have to go to it. It brings the opportunity, but you have to walk through the door, okay? So as Mercury and Uranus are in this trine, first of all, it's sudden insight. It's sudden things coming to mind, a sudden brilliant idea that you hadn't had before. It's like a mental breakthrough. And sometimes we still have to have a breakdown before we have a breakthrough. So just keep that in mind. Not everything that is breaking down is for the worst, but this is going to also, I think, in that very Uranian vibration, and because Uranus is in Taurus, it is like we have to innovate something in order to get to the material success, to get to the stabilizing success, right? So this could be a breakthrough that you're having around technology or around a grouping of people that you would rather align with because you align with their message, you align with their vision, right? Now, on the global stage, that more mundane picture, this could, again, bring any kind of insight that's happening around technology, around medicine. But again, to me, because Mercury is involved, we have this repeating theme this week of communication strategies. How are things being strategized to communicate with masses of people? This is going to be something to really be paying attention to. And other things that I think about, because Mercury has such a high emphasis in communication as well, is that we may see industries that are both technological and governmental unveiling these particular strategies. So I'm curious to see what we learn this week, but expect the unexpected. And then the thing to remember that we're looking at is how do these transitions of the things that are happening globally in the world also shift us into the world. This is the narrative that is unfolding in front of us. And how are your thoughts, words, and actions in relation to that unfolding? Okay. So just after that, we are going to see the last quarter moon, and this is going to happen at 2 degrees of Cancer. So first of all, because this is the last quarter, we want to remember that this has happened in this lunar family. So we began a story 2.5 years ago. Go back to June 29th of 2022. And this is where you were planting your seeds of intention with that new moon at 7 degrees of Cancer. You were getting something going. You were starting. You were calling something into your life, right? You were like, I want to begin a new security. I want to find home. I want to find family. I want to find a connection with my roots in a really different way. You were planting your seeds of intention there. Then when we got to March 29th of 2023, this is when things are in action. There's actual movement. You're tearing down old things, building up new ones, okay? And you're constructing something that you can build a future out of. So as we got to December 27th of 2023, this was when the full moon time happened at 4 degrees of Cancer. So it was time to end something, acknowledge something, or adjust it. You celebrate what you've built and you say, okay, now I need to pivot just a little bit because it's built. I did it. It can maintain itself. Now let me pivot. And as we're coming now to this last quarter time, it's time to bring it to culmination, right? It's like closure, completion. It's time to turn away from it and let it either be and continue to be what it needs to be because it's functioning brilliantly, or it's time to change the relation and the engagement to it. Now, of course, in the vibration of Cancer, we're looking at things that have changed in the level of your emotional foundation with your family. It's a great time because this is still a lunation point to reflect on what adjustments you need to make emotionally in order to detach from what's not working for you anymore, and in order to be really present and really comfortable and secure in the world, in your world, in the global world as it is today. Now, globally, from a mundane perspective, this would be more about our governments yet again looking at security. There's a feature of security, policies around security, public welfare, what's best for the people. These kinds of things are going to continue to be the conversations. These are the dealings of the global governments, are they not? But we can also see more information around specific rules and regulations applying to different countries' citizens. I think that we'll hear a little bit of an uptick of conversation around that this week, okay? On Wednesday, this is the 25th, we've got Mercury, our planet of the mind, thinking, communication, in opposition to Neptune. Okay, so this, first of all, this is an aspect with the opposition where they're going away from each other, so they can cause confusion and distance. You're just not clear. Your thinking's foggy. You're misunderstanding information, or you're giving false information. Someone's giving you false information. It's misinformation. All of the facts haven't been checked. Remember, we talked about very beginning of this week, the moon's coming in Gemini, so we need to pay attention to the word magic that is happening around us. Right? Fact check everything that you hear. And that is not a political statement, that is an astrological statement, okay? Now, on a global scale, something to be thinking about here is, again, the story, the narratives, any of these kinds of things that you will be paying attention to. But what I want to say to you as well is that whether it's on the global stage or it's in a contract or you're working on a book or you're going to submit a paper or whatever it is, also make sure that you are being impeccable with your words. Make sure that what you are saying is fact checked, okay? And even if that means you say something and you're like, oh, I don't know that that's fully true. So, just take that for what it's worth, right? Be impeccable with the words here on Wednesday, which also happens to be a Mercury day in general. Okay, just behind that, we'll see Mercury in a trine to Pluto. Oof, Mercury is under it. Mercury is doing it this week, right? You see what I mean? There is a lot of information on the stage this week. Now, Mercury in a trine to Pluto, again, creates the pocket of opportunity that we can take advantage of. But Mercury Pluto here, unlike Mercury Neptune, that's, confused and a little foggy, so things seem a little bit vague. I'm not sure what that is. Mercury Pluto wants to dig. It's like, I'll find those facts. Okay, so whether you're doing something at work and you're getting to the root of the problem, you're investigating, you're going through all the facts, all the paper until you find the right answer, or this is something that is going on a global space and you're having to ask more questions, get more details about what is really going on. And typically what happens in the true Plutonian way, you find some hidden truth that was not revealed, whether it was purposely not revealed or whatever is the opposite of that, it was not revealed. So we can watch for this to be happening in our personal lives as well as the mundane stage. So I would expect to think that, or expect to hear that this week there's going to be some changes to some pretty important agendas and some pretty important things having to do, Uranus and Taurus, with banking. So this will move and change the direction of what we need to do, but get your facts, get your information, whether it's globally or it's in your personal life, okay? On Thursday, the 26th, Mercury now enters into the vibration of Libra. So Mercury has moved into air, and when Mercury is in air, it can get very big, it can get very busy. I tend to think it's a lot of fun. So as Mercury moves here, first of all, we've got all this information and this communication that we're needing to be impeccable about this week. Mercury in Libra helps us be diplomatic about it. It shifts the focus towards, questionable Mercury Virgo energy into, okay, let's just find the balance here. There has to be a balance of what's being said here. Let's negotiate a little bit. We want a fair win-win kind of situation. So the diplomacy in general of Mercury being in Libra, I think, is really useful because conversations naturally become more harmonious. That's what we want. We want to heighten harmony. We want to heighten the peace, the fairness, and we want harmony. So this is a great energy if you needed to have a discussion with an employer or a partner. Just know that you're coming to the table with an open, fair-minded negotiator's mind when you're working at the nice evolution of Mercury in Libra. Now, on the global stage, hopefully we see that Mercury in Libra helps drop some of the tension on conversations that need to be happening, especially things Libra having to do with legal things, legal agreements, alliances, and things like that. Now, on the later part of Thursday, we see the moon shift into Leo. Okay. Now, the moon is out of Cancer where it's in domicile, it's in full power, and now it's moved into Leo, and we are feeling bold. It is bold. There's creative energy here. It's confident, it's dynamic, it's passionate, it's very expressive. We want to, at an emotional level, express how we are feeling about things. So this transit can, first of all, really manifest you stepping up in some kind of leadership energy. You're like, I feel passionate enough about this to lead, or I know my stuff enough in order to lead. But I think it can also be just as courageous as saying, where do I need to activate my courage to express how I feel here, express emotional needs that I have, right? To have the courage to boldly look at how my thoughts, words, and actions are playing a part in what's unfolding in the narrative. Am I being impeccable with my words? Am I holding my own space? These kinds of things. Now, in a global mundane context, leaders, and I mean this as kind of a bigger word, like our leaders, our influencers, our celebrities, people in a position of self-expression that we already see, we may see them particularly highlighted at this time, right? Like someone in the entertainment industry is sharing something from a mundane perspective that really changes the way the world is looking at the global stage or events that are unfolding. So check that out around Thursday. Let's see what comes up. It'd be Thursday, Friday kind of energy, because Friday really doesn't have any planetary aspects. The moon is traveling all day in high creativity. So also enjoy that. Enjoy the creativity. Watch some Netflix or watch whatever you're into. Go to the arts. Go to an art demonstration. Whatever you're into that brings a little bit of the drama and the expressive playfulness to you to the table. On Saturday, we've got the moon moving into a void of course position, and this is going to happen at 9:35 p.m. So again, this is a wonderful, wonderful time to rest, especially after having all of that moon and Leo excitement. You know what I mean? After all that moon and Leo excitement, we're going to go ahead and bring some things down to a rest. I would avoid on Friday, if you can, making any big decisions around this time, if you can avoid it. Now, I don't know what contracts you're signing at 9:35 p.m. at night anywhere on this planet, but things get done in the dark all the time. Okay, on Sunday, September the 29th, as we're going to close out this week, I love this aspect. It's probably my favorite of the week, especially seeing how it's going to play a role in the mundane astrology. We've got the sun in a conjunction with that south node in Libra, and it's opposing that north node in Aries. Okay, so first of all, as this lights up, the sun lights up the nodes, what we've got is a story of karmic pattern and lessons that need to south node be released. We get to be done with them this time, and we are almost done with the Aries Libra axes, and we've been working on this for quite some time. So I just want to say to you, first of all, hold on to your hearts, because I really think that some beautiful release and relief are on the way, and you've done good work. We learned a lot here. But it can still feel the tension of the opposition, where you are feeling pulled between your past and your future, right? It's kind of this place in the dance, and we're looking to create that integration in the middle. We don't want to let any opposition continue to get far away. Instead, we don't need to know what the purpose of the past and the future are. We just need the goal of living in the now, because we want them to integrate, come together here in the middle, and let's find a solution to the now. It's a really brilliant, priceless, special energy that I hope we all get to show up for. I hope that you make space on Sunday to love this into your life, to look at where you have forgiveness for your past, and that is releasing you to more freedom for your future. I hope that you have found a place of genuine partnership, not regret from your past, but a partnership with understanding how your past is now. It's not a liability anymore. It doesn't have to be. It can be a really beautiful asset to yourself and others as you move forward. Now, in a mundane way, on the world stage, this lights country karma as well. So on a global scale, I think that we're going to really have in our face Sunday through next week the collective unresolved issues, right? And so we can start to see issues that are related to decision makings about alliances that maybe are or are not in balance anymore. These start to come to the surface, but they're going to be pushed more by leadership. We would see leaders saying, our nation needs to go in a different direction. This alliance is not in the right kind of balance anymore. So that's going to be really important. So just behind that, we're going to see that we've got the moon moving into the vibration of Virgo. So this is our once a month check-in on where am I in emotional analysis paralysis. I'm just over here thinking about things, and I'm having a hard time doing. But also, where do I just need to clean up? I need to clean up emotionally, empty the recycle folder of my emotions and let some things go so that I can be the very best. What practices can you bring into your life that allow you to continue to have emotional agility and demonstrate that in your life so that you can be flexible and you bend, you don't break, right? Okay, just behind that, we've got the Mercury in opposition here to that north node, south node as well. This is so much. Okay, now Mercury is in conjunction with that south node, the sun too, right? We've seen it today. So now we're bringing in this element later in the day where we've already seen the sun make this connection. And now Mercury is adding to the conversation. And again, the information may not be as accurate and clear. But what's happening here is there's an innate awareness. We have dug for facts and details during the week in our personal lives and in the global sense as well. And that north node is pulling guiding us towards, we have a sense of purpose. We have an awareness of where we need to go. But the South Node is like, we can't even get across this bridge until we start to talk about what's going on over here in the past behavior so that we don't return to it. We need a different reliance, alliance, and relationship with this South Node, and we've done such good work. I also think at a personal and a mundane level, the aspects that are going to conjunct around this South Node are going to be the ending of very many soul contracts that we don't need to be in alignment anymore, and instead we'll get to have that beautiful release from them in body, mind, spirit, and relation, and get ready to move forward more freely in that Aries dynamic. Now, as we are going to close out the day on Sunday, we've got Mars in a trine to Saturn, and it's always nice when Mars and Saturn are in a good relation, because it's almost like the child and the parent energy. You know, the child, Mars says, I do what I want, and Saturn, the elder, says, no, friend, don't you don't. So when they are in a good relation to one another, we're usually having a better time because it brings some stability to our actions. So what this gives us is an opportunity here on Sunday, rolling into Monday, is a nice, disciplined, steady set of action that we are going on and we are going forward with. So this is a beautiful energy. It's a good time to make long-term plans, especially ones that allow you emotional peace. Something that brings, you know, even if you have to work hard for it, you're like, I have to really put my head down, but this is going to bring me emotional, this is going to bring my family security. This is going to bring me housing security, right? Because it's still very much so in an energy of security, but we're having to take action on it. And this is just about disciplined action. And a lot of the disciplined action here in this trine is in water. It's about, where am I emotionally disciplined? Where can I emotionally tackle what's going on? What triggers, what flicks me off emotionally that sends me spinning, that makes it so my actions, thoughts, and words are hurting the unfolding of the collective story, right? So it's a great time to look at what we need to tackle here, but also to share with the world, share challenges that you're having, you know, tell them, yeah, you know what, I'm doing pretty good on my path, but I still struggle with this a little bit, and watch the world open up to new alignments. Really cool. Globally, Mars is involved. When Mars gets involved, yes, it's brilliant. We get inflammation. Mars can bring inflammation wherever it goes, right? Because it wants to cut through the caca and just get to solution. But when we're looking at Mars in mundane astrology, we move immediately to war, aggression, conflict, military, and where the actions need to be taken. So Mars is going to naturally govern in mundane astrology where we have a conflict. Now we have a conflict energy going up against Saturn, which is the story, the authority, the structure, the government, right? Where the structures of long have been put in place. So as these two are dancing together here in a mundane kind of way, what we can expect to see are particularly strong decisions, significant decisions in our political infrastructures, in maybe things that are, of course, going to bring stability and security, but something with our military needing to change spots. And this will still impact each of us in our own personal lives, because it's going to be a question of, if the institutions switch place or move or are no longer in that alignment, what does that do to our ongoing stability, right? So this is a little bit of a different view than we normally take on this channel, but I was really excited to bring you something to think about in the mundane world, and how what we're doing personally is also in alignment collectively, and how when our outer planets or our mundane movements are happening in the collective, it also reinforces things that are happening for us personally as well. So I would love your feedback to see, what did you get out of this week? How are you aligning? How are you relating to this right now? Especially, my goodness, we are getting really close to some election location in the United States, so the energy is definitely cracking up. And also, have you studied mundane astrology yet? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to also, in the description box down below, grab your Introduction to Mundane Astrology course that I taught with our friends at astrologyhub.com. Get 22% off. Now that is going to be good all the way till the end of the week. All right, my beautiful friends, I hope you have a gorgeous week. I can't wait to check in on you, and I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.